Today.
Hello, hello. Julie Bartkus here, along with Michael Tasner, and you're joining us for the Get Connected show. And it's been a little while since we've been on live. We've had some different things going on, and I think Michael took off to somewhere warm for a while.
I did indeed.
But we're so delighted to be back here with you today. How's it going, Michael?
Everything is good. Everything is good. Just I was down in Orlando for a few weeks with the family. So,
Wait, did you say a few weeks?
Yeah, so we were down just a little bit over 2 weeks. So
this is why we have not been on the air, because Michael's been in Florida.
And it's I was happy that it was like the first time in a while that, I surely didn't fully check out. I haven't done that in almost probably ever, but I worked the least amount that I have and just was able to kind of recharge my battery a bit. I brought my Kindle down and
nice
cranked through a couple of books and just enjoyed the sun. I really haven't, with everything going on, mainly with COVID and all that craziness, I really haven't traveled much. And I know you and I used to do a lot of speaking and events and things like that. And we were second guessing, do we even want to go to Orlando anywhere? And I was like, we just got to do it. Got to get some normalcy back into.
I know my clients are asking me, when's our live event? When are we going to do live events? I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to start thinking about the next one. But we built a new model with our clients too, where we're doing a lot more virtual. But I'm like, at the same time, to get together for that at least once a year in person would be really nice. And I'm missing it too.
And I think a lot of people are missing it as well. I mean, at least from the people that I'm talking to that do events and attend events, I think people are kind of now in the place where, hey, they need some more of that human interaction. And obviously the childcare professionals that are on this live call or listening to the recording, you get, interaction with your staff on a daily basis and the children that are at your center, but you need that, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of safe space, for example, that you can just vent and share and garner ideas and things like that. And I think everyone is kind of zoomed out a little bit often. So
I know,
like, oh, it's like another Zoom, and it's like
it's so true.
Just got to work in some
word Zoom. Here we go again. So on today's show, we're going to be talking to you about how to really put a sense of urgency around some of the things that you want. And it's this concept of the 12-week year. And Michael and I have both studied it. And one of the things that I really liked that it did for me was to put urgency around getting things accomplished in 12 weeks and then being able to celebrate after that 12 weeks is up, and then setting a new goal and a new deadline. So I'm hearing a lot of entrepreneurs these days are really not into like the strategic planning for a year or 5 years out, because things in our world are changing so quickly. But what if we compressed it? And for me, it even took a lot of anxiety out of the way that I was managing my business by thinking like, oh, okay, it's not a year out. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but it's like waiting for that thing to happen. It's like now we're compressing it. We're really focusing on the next 12 weeks in front of us.
The biggest point that you made there is the longevity of planning. So you can always have that bigger vision, and Julie and I we're always talking about the bigger vision. And you're at 2 locations now, and your vision in 5 years is to have 10 whatever that bigger vision is, and you want to have that. But what we decided to do is to kind of change things up a little bit, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the kind of the philosophy to this concept of the 12-week year and the book. And how does that apply to your business? How does it apply to hiring? So if you're saying, well, it's the same thing Julie and I are hearing often. There's hiring shortages. I can't find any great people, et cetera, et cetera. Well, if you're thinking, well, it's going to take me 6 months to hire a new director, how can we condense that down where maybe it's 6 weeks or 3 weeks?
6 days.
6 days. Yeah. Even better of like, how do we really condense that down? If you're talking about, well, I want to double enrollments, and you might be thinking, well, that's a 12-month plan, for example. Well, what if it's a 90-day plan? And if you're at 70 and all of a sudden you're adding another 20 and another 20 and then 50. And so it's not just, it's not just the thinking, but it's really just that heavy focus on kind of radical productivity. And one of the things that I've realized, and I reread the book last week. And I think that's probably why it was on my mind when Julie and I were kind of talking about, we want to give everyone that's listening, we want to give you some more time deadlines. We want to give you some more actionable stuff that you need to come to the next call, because if you miss a call or two, you're not just a week or two behind, but at the pace that we're moving and pushing you, you're 2 months behind, 3 months behind. And I think the overarching thing that I had found from the book, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about, but it's really the piece around execution, and it's consistently executing. I mean, I have to remind myself many times that, I mean, talk is cheap, and I can keep saying, I'm going to launch this passion project or whatever it is, and you just, oh, okay, great. But okay, great. If I move the needle a little bit, but what am I doing consistently to really move that along? And you'll find that we're really being held back, and you're really just holding yourself back, not from a lack of ideas, but really from a lack of execution.
That's true. And one of the things that we really want to push you towards, and Michael and I work on this with our clients all the time, is results. We want to have an impact, and we want to see you getting results too. So, that's one thing that we're looking at changing up, get connected into something that's really going to push you into action, push you into results. And if you're here tuning in and you've got any ideas for us in terms of what you're thinking or how you feel about what we're sharing so far, go ahead and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts about this. But results is what's going to matter. And I know even a lot of times when we're looking at our staff and our staff doing things or not doing things, it's like, okay, Julie, why didn't they achieve this goal? And it's because, well, what's the sense of urgency? So goals drive urgency in our organizations. It's one of the critical things is to have those goals and to make them concrete and things that you can accomplish.
Oh, and the whole piece of annual planning. So I wrote an article for Forbes. It'll be published.
Forbes, I remember hearing about that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
He just says it in passing. I wrote an article for Forbes.
No, it's actually the newest one is Entrepreneur. So that was the one that was it the
most recent one?
Yeah, okay. That's the most recent one. Took me 2+ years to get in, and they just published my first article. But on Forbes, I wrote an article. It actually will get published tomorrow, the 30th, and it was about kind of marketing planning focused on budgeting. And this whole issue of yearly planning, I mean, it's just setting yourself up to fail. But really, for me, it's kind of giving yourself and your team a reason to be complacent. So like when you're doing your planning let's say you're doing it in December and you're trying to have the plan for the whole year, like January seems so far off, but it's not. And like, even if you're then starting in the first week of right after New Year's, the first week of January, and you're looking out, oh geez, I mean, 6 months, that's just so much like way down the path, but all of a sudden you're just kind of moving at a snail's pace, or you're just knowing that these things are set so far out that you've got plenty of time that you're not then taking those consistent actions to grow, or to bring in the right staff, or to generate more enrollments, or to produce what you're looking for.
And I think a lot of it too is your own motivation. When you have a year out plan and it's, things are so far out, it's like you lose motivation, and then all the crises start coming into play. But I do believe in looking at your calendar and getting all of you, like your open houses on that calendar, or different, graduation ceremony. You're going to lay those things out for the year. So we're not advocating that you don't do that. But when you're looking at, well, how many enrollments do we want to get? Instead of saying, okay, this year I want to get 50 new enrollments, we said, well, how many do you want to get in the next 12 weeks? And we shorten those goals and really strive towards, okay, this is the main thing that we're focusing on, is getting so many in the next 12 weeks. And we could break that down, and we build excitement around that. We build urgency around that. The same thing, maybe it's online testimonials or rave reviews. Maybe your goal is to get 5 of those in the next 12 weeks. So it's really looking at some of those things that are going to make your business a real success in a shorter period of time.
Very true. Very true. And when I really take a step back and look at what's the first thing, so we can kind of give you one of the first pieces, and then next week we'll give you the next piece and the next piece, and we can check in on your progress, and hopefully we can kind of gamify this a little bit as well.
Ooh, gamify.
Just kind of see who achieves the best results and or who is taking the most consistent action. But the first piece to the 12-week year is to actually develop a vision. Mm-hmm. And to have the vision towards, okay, how am I going to actually improve this? The 12-week year is, it's a productivity play. And it's just having you so in the zone consistently that your productivity goes up exponentially. Mm-hmm. And I know Julie and I have talked about different things that we've done to kind of improve productivity. I mean, that there's so many different books and concepts and planners, and there's a lot of different ways to improve your productivity. But the first piece in the 12-week year is focused on that vision. And I would encourage you, and I know Julie has some ideas as to how she's done this and what she's done with her clients as well. I know, Julie, you do a lot of the visioning work with your clients and really getting more clarity on what they want. Right. For me, it's taking, whether it's an afternoon, a day, 2 days, outside of your office or outside of your center, outside of your home, wherever it is, and even checking into a hotel with some good energy, and just writing down anything and everything that is coming to your mind that you want, that you desire, whether it's personal, professional. I know that I've talked on many of our episodes about kind of a painted picture, which is where you're kind of visioning out the next couple of years. And that's definitely a great exercise. Yeah. But in this case, it really is just starting with some of the things that you're envisioning for the rest of this year. So again, more enrollments, attracting more cash flow, paying yourself a bigger salary, happier staff, more locations, acquisition, branding, happier parents, whatever it is, COVID-free facilities, so you can actually do your fun graduations and things like that. I mean, whatever comes to mind, just literally start to write everything and anything out.
Just write it all down. Yeah, that's
exactly.
True. You know, and in our campus, and actually I was just on a call with a client where we were talking about the process of mind mapping or webbing. And that process is very good for getting all that gunk and ideas. I shouldn't say gunk, but getting all of your ideas, all of your creative process onto a piece of paper. And I find that our owner clients really love webbing, where our directors would probably rather make a list. But I would definitely, look at webbing where you just have an idea in the center and then you just expand out different branches from that one. There's circles that you could draw to really get some things on paper of what you want. And that's really important to identify is what do you want over the next 12 weeks? If you had a magic wand and you can make something happen in the next 12 weeks, what would it be?
Well, in the magic behind it, and I found that this is true, especially for me. So I can sit, and I've done this exercise. I sit down and I start writing all the different things that I want, and then I'm envisioning rather. But if I don't have my plan kind of rooted in the actual vision, then I just start questioning, like, what's the point of making the plan? If you're saying, well, I want to have an acquisition under the table, or I want to open up another location. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. But is that actually part of your vision? Like you need to make sure that the vision is at the root of everything. Otherwise, you're just kind of doing planning for the sake of planning, and you're really not going to execute it. So I've encouraged a lot of people to put this plan together. And like most people know, they should exercise more and eat a little bit more healthy. But if you don't have kind of everything rooted in the vision and the why behind things, then it's just going to be a lot harder to actually make those things a reality. Like it's just stuff on paper. And it just, if you can take a step back and really start to to feel it. And I think that's probably the buzzword here, to like start to close your eyes and like feel it coming true. And the whole law of attraction piece that Julie and I have talked about many, many times, of like seeing it in fruition. And that's why I really like that painted picture document that I've done. I just need to reread it more so I can start to actually feel it.
Right. Yeah. And feeling it is the secret sauce, especially when it comes to attracting. So I love what you're saying about that. And the vision is the core. Michael said the roots. It's also the roots. You could think of it that way. But to me, it's the core of everything that you do. And everything needs to be centered around it. What's the vision? And also, when you think about your goals, especially if you're thinking about a goal for the next 12 weeks, it could be something concrete, but it could also be something that you feel. So a lot of times we're working with owners to regain happiness, to regain peace of mind, to gain more freedom. So those things could all be part of that 12-week plan too, is that you're really looking at, well, how much more freedom do I want? And do I want an extra day off or 2 days a week where I don't have to come into the center, where I could do my planning or my admin stuff at home? So really think about how you want to feel, and then you could set goals in accordance with that. And remember that your desires is what fuels the vision. So always be recognizing your desires personally and professionally. Be writing those suckers down and know that they're important and that they're given to you for a reason. And a lot of times people will get a desire for something and it's like, oh, no, don't need that. Or, oh, no, not going to do that. But it's coming to you for a reason. So pay close attention to that.
Oh, definitely. So after you have that
I'm
piece,
feeling inspired.
And I think that you and I should execute the same thing in tandem with our listeners. And so I'm trying to not lose my focus for this and I'm already starting to think about my 12-week year.
Yeah, the ideas are flowing.
It's having the vision that we just talked about, getting it to where you're feeling it. You feel great about it. Like, it's not just, you don't want to just slap things down like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to improve my revenue by $100,000. Okay, but why? What are you going to do with that money? Like, it's what is that going to allow you to do? Well, the $100,000 is going to allow you to do X for your family. That 100,000 can be a deposit on another building, so you can expand your mission, your vision. So you want to make sure you're feeling it. And then the next piece to this equation is the measurement and the tracking and the systems. And often this is where I personally kind of trip myself up a little bit, is I'll get really clear on kind of the vision, but I don't have the controls set up to where they're boiled down to daily actions. So if we're going to work with you to execute this 12-week year, and the case studies, I encourage you to read case studies of 12-week year, and some of the things that some of these business owners have created in 12 weeks is just astronomical. Website redesigns that they thought would be a 2-year project done in 3 months. Reinventing the culture at the business, where they thought that would take years to do the surveys and just everything that goes along with kind of redefining and reformatting, so to speak, culture. That got accomplished in 90 days. I mean, doubling the size of the business. Like, there's just case study upon case study upon case study. But the secret sauce, after you have the vision piece nailed down and tied up in a bow, are those measurements and controls. How are you going to measure? So if you say, Michael and Julie, I've got the vision to attract 2 amazing directors and 3 teachers. And I thought this was going to take a while, but I'm all in to have this executed in the 12-week year. Okay, great. We've got that. Now, what's the next step to make sure that we're measuring success? So does that mean, obviously, that the amazing job description that Julie and I have talked about many times, and we've done episodes on, and we even went and read some of them live and looked at how crappy they were. So that's one. That's one piece of the equation. But how many applicants do you want? What are the activities? And then just starting to boil all that into the measurements. And the nice thing with people in this industry is you're normally pretty meticulous with the to-do notes and task lists and things like that. So I'm a big fan, and I knew I used the fancy buzzword earlier of gamify. I'd encourage you to make it fun or gamify it in a way for yourself or your staff, if the goal also includes them, so where it's not just, yeah, geez, I didn't do my whatever my 5 emails I needed to do today to hit this, but having to where you're tracking it. Your Jerry Seinfeld, way back when he was talking about practicing comedy to get as great as he is, it was that simple calendar of every single month, and he had a big red marker, and he made sure that he practiced comedy 30 minutes every single day, and then he had the big red marks. He didn't want to break the chain. And I know we've talked about break the chain, but you got to have those controls and those measurements after you have the vision piece.
Yeah, definitely tracking the habits that are going to make you successful is really important. There's something else that you were saying that I really liked. Oh gosh, but now it slipped my mind. But I think too, when you do the 12-week year and you make it fun, part of making it fun is just finding the things to celebrate, right? So create in that 12 weeks as many little milestones and as many little celebrations that you possibly can. So if your goal is to feel a certain way or to have so much time off or to do this, put in those celebrations. And sometimes owners, it's like we're dragging our feet to celebrate. We're like, we don't want to celebrate. We forgot to celebrate, but celebrate everything. And I tell you what, every new client I get on board, I'm like, okay, now how do we celebrate this? I go buy something that's a token of how I celebrate, or I go, take a trip somewhere or whatever it might be. But I'm always finding a way to celebrate the little things. And sometimes I don't remember, but I always try to work in the celebrations because that's going to feed your spirit, your soul. And it's also to tell the universe, bring it. I'm celebrating this. Bring more. So it's just really opening up the your ability to attract, because you're going to be showing the world that you're just open to receiving all these wonderful blessings that are here for you.
I couldn't agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. You've got to make sure that you're rewarding yourself, because this whole concept is going to take your productivity to a level that you've never experienced. And what it does, and with condensing time, the root of everything is every single moment counts. So you end up being so much more conscious of where you're spending and investing your time. And that's something that I personally have been working really hard on I'm not the best to serve our clients. I'm better at doing things like this, writing, producing content, helping with hiring, like more of the strategy stuff, rather than me being in the weeds on helping the client get the website moved across the finish line. So if I have to do that stuff, I can. But if I'm really trying to track every little moment, and I know that, okay, great, if I produce one piece of content that normally may have taken me 10 hours, I'm able to get it done in a couple hours because I'm more strategic about my time and what I'm up to. And then kind of moving that needle along, it just, not only is it tracking those micro moments, but as Julie said, you're able to then work in the reward system of every Friday. There's so many different ways to do it to make it fun. Like where people used to, I know a lot of people that still do this. You throw all your change or dollar bills into a jar, and at the end of the year, you use whatever's in there, and you go out to a nice dinner or a hotel stay or something like that. But
I like that.
Something fun like that. But I used to use the methodology way back when, and then really moved it into full action of this profit first, where the business owner is taking profits off the table, and you're doing it twice a month, and you're transferring money into different business bank accounts and things like that. But the profit account is the most important account. Yes. So even if it's a small amount, even if you're transferring $25 every 2 weeks to this profit account, the money then gets swiped every 2 weeks. So it'll pull the $25, goes into a different bank account so that you can't see it easily. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of the quarter, you have to use at least 50% of that on something non-business related. So, and I know $50 a month isn't going to be anything to get too crazy about, but it's the habit of the reward. So that, as Julie said, if it's not fun, you're going to start to check out pretty quickly. Oh, geez, this is just too much work, or I'm trying to do too much in 12 weeks, for example. You got to gamify it and add that fun in there for sure.
Make it fun. Yeah, and another thing too is that it just really prompts you to action. I know a lot of times we get caught up in our own thoughts about things, thinking, oh, negative, whether it's like, oh, I have to do that, but I don't have time, whatever. But if you give yourself shorter time frames, you're like, just do it, just get it done. You can move yourself along quicker too, which is something that I consistently work on, is like, all right, how do I move myself a little bit quicker to get more of these things done? Because sometimes some of these administrative tasks, I'm like, all right, I call Jana and I'm like, all right, you got to take these, because it's never going to get done if it sits on my plate. But it does prompt you into thinking like, oh, well, I've only got 5 minutes to do this, and yeah, I could do this 5 minutes. Let's get it done. Let's get it out, finished. So it really will get you out of overthinking on some tasks.
So if we look at fun projects, impactful projects for the 12-week year, so we had Anthony wrote, said, I've heard of the 12-week concept, haven't implemented it yet. So I could see a lot of different areas that could really impact our listeners.
Yes.
And the two biggest ones that Julie and I are asked about all day, every day. The first one is hiring, staff motivation, staffing. So all day, every day. I know Julie's in the weeds on this constantly, and has just gotten amazing at executing everything related to attracting amazing staff, hiring amazing staff, transforming teams. I know she has a program around transforming your team.
And get ready for workplace detox. That's cool.
Love it. No, I like the sound of that, workplace detox. I could use some of that.
Right.
And then the other one is just growth and of enrollments. How do I get more into summer camp? That's obviously a timely one for a lot of people where, it's for most centers, it's right around the corner, if not here. How do I get ready then for fall enrollment, which will come up faster than you've ever even imagined? And all of that fun stuff. So I think if we throw down some fun challenges, I'd love to hear from the comments, and anyone that's re-listening to this thereafter, start thinking of what topic do you want to pick. Pick one topic that you can focus on for this 12-week year. And we'll find a fun way to kind of gamify it. We can maybe bring some of you to our lives, coming on here live, giving us a quick update. Maybe give you some gratis coaching on the live, whatever topic that you're working on. So would love to hear some topics and things like that you're thinking, so that every single week, Julie and I can be checking in, giving you feedback, and then even reporting in on some of our topics. So I think I'll throw the challenge to Julie and to myself for each of us coming up with a topic for the 12-week year for our businesses, and just kind of share and support each other over the next 12 weeks to really see what kind of magical results can we produce in 12 weeks.
Wonderful. Yeah. And while we're talking about results, let's tell them a little bit about the results that you get your clients. And I know we're going to be talking about more 12-week year coming up here with us, but also if you want to expedite your results, you've got to talk to Michael, especially when it comes to your marketing, your websites, your reputation, whatever it might be. He is your guy. So let us know, how have you been helping folks, Michael?
Great question. So we're just kind of knee deep in driving as many leads as we can. So summer camp leads, just general enrollment leads. And we're doing now more than ever, not only coaching, but almost getting to the point where, and I can't announce it just yet because we haven't formalized it. And I want to make sure we're going to go into this deep end, but almost getting to the point where some of the centers we're going to take over actually calling all of your leads. So we're testing that kind of, not in a way, kind of a virtual call center, but we're finding that a lot of our centers, their directors just need more love and attention. And normally a director isn't hired to be a salesperson.
Right.
They're hired to.
I was going to say, that's where a lot of people get stuck.
No, definitely. I've had centers that we're looking at the leads and, okay, great, there's 40 leads and we're analyzing the numbers. So you should have done 20 tours and you should have enrolled 15. And okay, great. How do those numbers bench? Well, we did 4 tours and we enrolled 1. And then we start to unravel it of, well, step 1 is 40 leads should convert to a lot more than 4 tours. So, well, then you reverse engineer it and check all that stuff. So if we can be of any help, please feel free to reach out at any time.
You're at www.localchildcaremarketing.com.
Yeah, indeed. I'll throw that up here. And I know you're doing a lot of private coaching, and you've got some new fun clients and things like that. You do a lot with staff transformation. You mentioned the Detox Program. Tell us a little bit more about what you're up to.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing right now in the work with our clients, and it seems to be a common theme, but I've really been reflecting on like, well, why do people sign up with us? Why do they really come on, into my campus? Because we do help. We have clients who get 36 enrollments in 3 weeks once they sign on. They start attracting the team of their dreams. We start transforming their workplace. And the biggest thing that I thought about was what one of my clients, Mary, says. And she says, Julie, what you really do is you reconnect people with the heart of their business. And so I'm going to be using that as kind of like the thing that we do is we're reconnecting owners and teams with the heart of the business, with the heart of the program. And we do that to a multitude of ways, but part of that is the detox. Part of that is the transformation of the team, thinking about all things we have to clear out in order to feel a certain way about our business. And I wrote a little tidbit in our childcare business success group the other day about how the love affair ends, that we're so in love with the idea of creating a childcare program. We're so in love with opening those doors and getting it started, but then we're met with the reality of how staff is hard to find, hard to manage, work relationships are tough. But what we want to do is really bring you back to a place where you authentically and genuinely feel in love with the business that you created. And that would probably be one of the biggest things that we do is to reconnect you with the heart of your business. And we do that through making sure that your team is rowing in the same direction, your vision is amazingly strong, and all the strategies that you implement are aligned with it. So that's the longer version of the shorter story I probably should have told.
I like it. I love the line of connecting people with the heart of the business. And that's especially in this industry. I love it.
Yes, it is. It's so heartfelt. It really is. So if you're interested, we do offer some free strategy sessions at childcarebusinesssuccess.com. And there's also a contact us form there, so you could always reach out, but we'd love to reconnect you with the heart of your business.
I love it. So Julie and I are going to be back here live next week. Make sure that you're here for the next part. So your challenge for the next week for all of our listeners, and then Julie and I's challenge is to come up with a big, hairy, audacious goal that we're going to put in here for our 12-week year program. We're going to find the vision behind it and talk through it and support each other, check in on results, and really just put the power of all of us, the listeners, and just the power of action and execution to really show you what you can do with some help and move you in the right direction.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Ooh. I love it. I love it.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next week. And we're happy to be back.
Definitely. We'll have
enjoy your day and feel free to reach out. Remember this, don't ever struggle with your challenges by yourself. Michael and I are here to support you. We're a phone call away, and reach out.
Love it. Have a great day, everyone. See you next week.